Hi, Jasmine here from Redwood Financial. We're a firm of chartered financial planners and estate planners, and we are a family-owned and run business based in Hampshire. Today I have a question which is, can we change someone's will after they've died? Now, the answer to this question might shock a lot of people because actually the answer is yes. Section 142 of the Inheritance Tax Act allows us to change the terms of someone's will after they've died. However, there are some important caveats and rules that we need to understand first before we embark on what's called a deed of variation. So, first of all, in order to transact a deed of variation, the first thing we have to remember is that all of the work that goes into a deed of variation has to be completed within 2 years after the date that someone has died. If it's beyond 2 years, unfortunately, it is too late. We also have to be over the age of 18 and have mental capacity in order to agree to a deed of variation. And also we have to agree as a beneficiary that we're happy to do the deed of variation. But if all of those criteria are met, then absolutely we can use this legislation to change someone's will after they've died. Now, the obvious next question is, but why would we want to do that? And that's a really important thing to cover off. Now, one of the biggest reasons why we use a deed of variation with our clients is typically because the planning that has been done is not robust enough, it's not protective enough, or it's not tax efficient enough. So for example, we may have clients where their elderly parents didn't get around to making the kinds of wills and trusts and the good estate planning that we would recommend they undertake before they sadly passed away. That means that our clients are due to inherit monies that are now going to fall into their estate for inheritance tax purposes and not be protected from things like divorces and relationship breakdowns. A deed of variation, in very simple terms, allows us to take those gifts that have been made via a will, reverse it out of the beneficiary's estate, and place it into a protective trust for their benefit. The beneficiaries still get to have full access to the funds, but they get to have access to them in a safe and protected way via a trust, protecting them in the future from things like divorce and relationship breakdowns, generational inheritance tax, and even care fees. Deeds of variation are also really effectively used to help bypass a generation. So sometimes with our clients, if they've already got their own wealth and they've already got their own inheritance tax problem and they're due to receive an inheritance from their late parents' estate, they might choose to bypass that wealth and pass the wealth down to the next generation. In that example, the grandchildren. And again, we still want to make sure that the wealth passes down, but in a protective way via the use of a family-controlled trust. A deed of variation as a concept can be a really difficult thing to get your head around, I know. So again, I would encourage you to go to our website, look at all the information that we have here, as well as looking at our wills, trust and estate planning webinar. There's a fantastic case study in that webinar about how we use a deed of variation effectively for one of our clients, saving thousands and thousands of pounds in inheritance tax. If you do have any other questions, you can also reach out to us and have a 15-minute complimentary call back with one of our advisors.